The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll have a moment of silence. We'll move on to final review of our 2021 school budget.
And I'm going to turn it over.
Yeah.
In front of you, you have several sheets. This is very unusual, but downside, the district side, normally we have these budgets February, March, and to go till May. Come back, we basically, everything we're doing focused on the response and set this aside. So when we came back in early May, a different perspective of how to look at this. Now we're not caring for the start school year, starting to look for the other school year. Now we're looking at options we have to address the school year. So you're going to see, and then also by having it later in the year, we know answers to things that we asked when we prepared earlier. Health insurance, we know that increase in health. We know, staffing that has people who are retired. There's information, also sales and planning for. We're for the, today we get it, kids, whether they're in school or remotely. It's factored in. We've got to do. We have to provide 76 schools to prepare the buses. So, do a super by Department of Education requires us to budgets on a format. And the first part is regular instruction. Basically, what happens in the so your teacher, some ed, all your materials, classroom equipment, basically, and then gifted and talented under that umbrella. The center is special education encompasses special education, your ed primarily, your services, such as social work, your therapy, those services that are for that students. For technical education is cost center is what happens at the tech center. The tech center now sees its own E270 in years. It was our umbrella cost. Now they own ED269, and unless they over what the would provide, then have to allocate in their budget. Other activities that co-curricular and extracurricular. So your math groups, your groups, teams, and also your sports, all your and the perception. The one is student and support. That includes your nurse, your technology, and your so your student assessment. Here. The next is system administration. That is your and your share of the wide system administration. The next school administration, basically your school and school. Student transportation, basically get to and from school. Buses, vans, if you're doing specific different students. Your facility is your building grounds. The school lunch, that line, this particular, don't know how it was passed. What show is full cost of, and in the revenue, what we'll look over on is all was that offset. So that you see that in 2019, we spent about 70,007 for having school lunch for a budget such, and this year is, and I'll explain the increase. Next one, total continuation, not part of the budget per se, but it's a separate entity that falls under the district. It's, I'm doing it here because it's under that we have on the fire rate separate article. And then the very line is your variable of the budget. I've got two lines. The first line is full of all the 11 cost centers. The bottom very line, I've deducted the guidance from that so that you can see in this budget your total budget looking like a 206,000 102. The 5% in the side of the budget. We'll go through that, why the increase that is. So that sheet A. What I've done is taken all the costs throughout our budget and analyzed by group expenses. So see the total salaries that in 11. In this version, and then the second column is the budget for 2020. So we're proposing 4,996,790 salaries, increase of 180,000 every year, an increase of 0.3%, and it represents 56% of the budget. It may not be an actual in salaries at what is here. Sometimes it's a increase that shows I'm presented differently than the costs that we, for example, if we have a that's cost per year, the revenue at that position decreases as well. So position 1,000, we're collecting 20 somewhere else. The budget made 20,000. I'm showing the 40,000, and I'll show the revenue side. What I need from the expense is when we're putting the budget to the local or taxpayers, I need authority to everything that I'm going to pay. So all bills, all invoices need to be able to bill bills, and the authority outside me that's my total cost. Because the invoice don't collect next year's revenue comes in July. And I'm showing that I've spent it and by not have a debt. Comparing as if I already to spend the entire, but I'll show offsetting revenue. It won't be a taxpayers. Total health insurance is 805,086. It's actually a little bit increase. Our health insurance increase is 0. So we're paying 2020 as we did in this year. Salary benefits, food, fight, retirement, compensation, 500,450 and of 1762. Some of that is due to different salaries of employees that we have. Budget last year, we made director of special ed, specific teacher. This year, person, the cost is different, and then the rate of comp has changed as well.
Thank you. This sound from the owl, not really good. Want to stand in the table? Okay. Thank you. Got a message.
I apologize. Feel free to ask questions going on. The VUC assessment, that's the cost share for the office position covered under value. The superintendent, assistant superintendent, director of innovation and the director of services, all the costs associated with us, that little piece of office and the value unified and the legal and the stipends for that. It also includes finance, software, and the time clock software. There's two softwares that we formed a unified service center. The Department of Education actually provided funding and their cost of our financial software, because what we did is we changed our software and we added that so that we're all on umbrella and hosted. So sitting in Madawaska, sitting in Fort Campbell or anywhere between, I can use the software where I'm at and be able to function as if I was in the time clock software allows us to have employees and clock out, upload that hours that they work into our software. Previous 2 years, Madawaska and French does not have a clock system, a timesheet where you would actually, I worked 8 hours, submitted, and we're paid. This actually records the actual time on the task. Professional contracts and leasing services, that covers things as your lease, your technology contract, EPT, have some of those if we go on hand with that line. Increase of 1,000 that line. The legal fees we have pending with the school district Valley Unified. We don't know what the cost of that is going to be. So what we've increased fees for Madawaska School District 1,000 and each other as well, including Valley Unified. So in this 2,000 increase in legal fees plus share of the Valley, so about 30% of legal fees as well in here. And I'll go a little more detail increases are a bit later. Professional and board, we actually decreased the line. We anticipate that we're not going to be sending people anywhere this year. If COVID-19 will ramp up, and development, travel things will be done by funds or remote or through means to reduce that significantly. Facilities increase their diversity. When I looked at an analysis of this, I always do 2-year and a average, and I look at the year. The budget in last year was not sufficient for what we're spending in electric. Fuel, diesel, and propane. I'd love to say that the cost go down significantly, but my goal doesn't really work that when it comes to fuel cost. However, it's through the Madawaska, and I was able to reflect it is at the time of where we came in and we actually cost versus us guessing. We loan and lease, we paid our tractor. We have a loan for truck lease. Renewal and growing, that is your
It's the
biomass, and we for the year we will additional one. It will be a revolving renovation loan for building a vest at Madawaska Elementary. Materials and supply is primarily what is in the classroom and our basically our maintenance supply. Equipment and the increase there is about 40,000. The majority of technology, the one we did learn through 19 is that we would not have done the remote successfully because we were so in technology. We still have areas we need to improve on the back. We need to make sure our servers are up to date. We had since this year our data was data compromised, an access that we need to make sure that no one did. So we're upgrading our hosts, our data software, and our server. Meal and transportation, that is just a small lump for the, I think, in the co and extracurricular, again, very, dues and transportation, those are dues trips. What we know is, usually line is your transportation for coding trips. I know that we won't classroom next year. So the fall, I have sports, but we have them in November, December. We have to plan it. We'll be able to do. Student services, your psych, your audio, your facial therapy, doing at the same level. Career and technician, that's the cost center of the and tech on Valley Tech. There's no need to add any contribution. Equipment repair and maintenance, repairing labs or any buildings that has technology. We do increase in that. Repair and maintenance of the building, there's a small increase, and it's very due to the need to repair on the gym. I did add contingency to the budget. When I looked at this, I was quite surprised the previous year that there's no line. When your budgets are budgeted so specifically to items, you need a plan in the down or and is not any. So I did $25,000, which is not much. It's only 3%. Conference costs and professional events, and this area line for course tuition rate for our food supply, school nutrition. The school nutrition is a loan program, where we spend every week. It has to be a business type. This year, typically, normally for 100 school days, the kids are on site, feeding them on site, and we get through state. This year, I don't know, is will be in school, will still be delivered. We currently extension the program we were approved for and much required, but probably encouraged by March 15th was actually for most of the students when they're not just students 1, 0, unique solid food up until the age of 18 can take part in summer food program. An extension of the summer food program. The smaller menu, we don't everything is packed, delivered, and we're delivering by bus to their home. Cooler on the stove, we drop them off. We currently have extension. We were extended the end of the year. We're June 30th, and we now extension August 1st. So we will be actually this week to provide an extension beyond the school proof of food that we typically provide them. So 3 days we're still delivering, but it's for a meal service. So we deliver breakfast and lunch to any who has any, they want meals, student aged, let's say from 2 to. Yes.
When you say you were extended, does that mean like the grant or from the state or all of that?
They
Busing.
no. As long as we serve meals, they will cover it. If we don't serve meals to cover our costs, then we'll bring it back. We'll make it.
Right now, we're all, basically, it's balancing out. We're not running. It's federally, actually, it's federal dollars, and the reimbursement is higher than regular reimbursement in the school year. So it allows you to hire people, pay people, and not run it.
Okay, so the issues that are shown are covered in time.
Yeah. So, and what I is factored in our regular school and the costs we recover for. I bet 2 little businesses in here. Is the regular food in the event that we start school in August, we're back doing what we do. That will all costs to the local, same normally would. If we don't, and we're remote, then I have another where I've added, it's a 14 weeks to provide meals outside of the year. And I've exact same revenue coming in, net effect is, but it's the authority, I need to pay the bills. And so if it's less, I'll pay cover less, but more, I'll pay cover more. So the net effect of school lunch program is 0. Yes.
Is the program based?
No, it's whoever wants it. Any child that lives in the area and that can eat food at the age of 18 can meal service program. Ben has sent a survey to the families and to these, and if someone moves to the and has kids, call in and say to get meals, we can serve them meals.
That's what we're doing now.
That's what we're doing now. Meal program like that.
There's anyone the others offset the cost losses
We had a tremendous participation in this. Are we on 75,000
I
meals?
think
We're 175 served in the 3 districts since 6 or 17. There's a lot of demand.
the reimbursement dollars and cents per meal.
It's a 3 between breakfast and lunch, breakfast a little bit lower, lunch is, I think it's 4. But as long, because our bus is going along specific routes, living around those are full of meals. If we get to meals per bus, we'd have to read because $12 would not. At that, we have the instead of a delivery house to house, we have the option of delivering to a site. So you could 10 miles out, meals in that one area, have people come in that location.
We still have close to 100 meals that are requested throughout the system.
Per day.
Producing one for Madawaska, is that correct?
Yes.
Producing one, and we figure out how to get it to the families where they're.
This week is our evaluation because last Friday finished the school for the kids being type thing. So now we're doing the actual summer meal program, and now we have our teachers off and our school staff, our school base that are off. So may or may not be getting food. We may these are going on vacation or to the. So we have a survey because they're sitting at home made. So a new count, make a decision based on count what will for service. Are there still a high? With the, I figured you would want to know what category of salary increase or decrease. So C just around that 180,000 in the salaries. When you're comparing these, we're comparing what was budgeted last year to this year. What was budgeted last year was sometime in February of 2019, and staff that were in place at that time in anticipation they would be here. So any changes in personnel and any changes in responsibilities are now reflected in the budget 2024. So that 80,000 may be an actual increase of salaries to an employee or to that are currently, they made their difference between what last year, what is needed for this year. That kind of makes in the, for example, the admin group, it reflects an increase of 3%. Administrators are getting a 3% increase, getting a COLA. That's what's to this budget. But what was budgeted was not sufficient to cover or were actually expended. And then when I get to next year, there's a 7,800 more. The board stipend are about the same. And we went, was anticipated this happen as well. When you're an employee, report what they work, they're not track of the minutes here and there, they may, at the end of, if the answer and they're there beyond 30, they're not going to report it at 3:40 to say I worked 8 hours. When you're actually clocking out, and it reflects that you're actually on site, you find that the majority of these may be working 8 hours a day. You also have some that are working what they should, and they kind of adjust as you go. So the budgeted last based on an 8-hour, regardless of examining what's actually happening, really had no way to. But now you do, finding that the hours that were allocated were not quite sufficient. If it rings at 3:30, I myself to answer it. I tell them, no, you don't phone if it rings at 3:30. Don't answer it, you walk out. We provide the service, we'll reflect it in the budget. Your co and extra stipends, that includes coaching. So sometimes your coaching or these providers may not be at the same level. When I looked at comparison, we could decrease in that area. Contingent salaries area where the salaries are happening. The people are actually the same people. However, they're supervised by city 27. So the cost pertains to 27 no longer in the expense side. So that's why you're seeing it there. The person did money, but from a different source. Because they're about the same, the hour and the text. Grand Isle actually contributing. And so I all of the salary and checks are covered by a regular, and in the revenue that have revenue offset some of these costs. It's not based in the cost of salary, it's just reflecting everybody that's being. Foods include the extra time, the extra weeks for the food program. A decrease of 1,000. There might be in South or in some have an person 2 locations, and the employees save money but may work instead of this sitting for 4 hours, there may be 3 hours, 4 hours there. So it's just a shift in areas of responsibility.
Food service in the summer for the increase there.
I'm estimating that I will need a certain amount of people for days, and I've spent that amount that get an offset to offset. Secretary is the same as the bus drivers as at the hour, and actually I think for 1920, the secretary's school was for the fact. The budget in 1920 really reflects happening. This year we're caught up. Secretary work. Social workers are offset by local entitlement funds, and some years we can cover more in local entitlement, and some years we depends on the fluctuation what else takes place. So this year we cover more of the through the record that we had planned this year. I mean that social work paid more, it's just from a different fund. Special ed, our current special ed director retiring this. We've hired a new special ed slash be a full-time director and teaching one.
And we did not teaching possession.
And that in we get to the your substitute students and substitute drivers were going to be the same. Substitute teacher I did an evaluation of how many reviews must do a 2 or 3 charge current year. The amount of our substitute teacher is not sufficient. Sometimes that an employee probably through the year hire a substitute long-term sub need if you have class size, for example, and you don't have any to hire a full-time teacher, you hire a teacher on long. That's what that line is. The teacher looks like a decrease have 3 times. So the replacement cost for if a teacher retires, hire someone with experience, and so one of the positions we're not filling, so it looks like a decent cost. It is in reality not getting less in their base. And technology, getting a COLA. So that's the salary changes. Gives you summary of programs within cost centers. Regular instruction, the green line. It looks what happens in classrooms, and the Department of Education requires me to in groups. So I have to code teachers and costs pertain to 3 to 8 in the first grade. And then I have track of K to grades in a separate grade, grades 9 to 12 in a separate, and active and talented effort programs in the fourth group. So that I don't know if you want to go through by line or if this is you can pretty much see by grouping your questions. In the red, I've indicated what either the majority of that change. For example, in the elementary programs, grades 3 to 8, there's 24,098% due to staff. So a staff was basically in grades 9 to 12. We're now that person has to grades 3 to 8. So the insurance that person versus. So it's that kind of cost. So red, it kind of describes the desire. So in that instruction, by the green line questions, we can get the programs out. In the regular, there's actually about 1% of 17 decrease in the special education program, an increase 14%. Part of that is the new director of education and part-time, full-time status, and also ed techs that will be covered by Brand are in us as well. So truing say it's just showing it different than in the year's budget. Technical education has increased. We had $500 and we didn't need it. Activities called extracurricular, a small decrease of about 2%. Student and support is an increase of 13,000, which is 18%. The majority of that, what we've found out is with 19, when students and staff back to the building. Right now, a very limited scope of allowed into our building when they do, we make sure that there's distance. When to the point where students and staff come to the building in groups, and we're going to be required to check symptoms and screening, temperatures, and so now we don't full-time nurse in Madawaska. This brings our nurse full-time. So that increase of about 1,000. The rest areas are increases except for insulated technology. Is have to invest in that has a server, it has equipment, iPad lower. What we'll do is gear up that we have a wave of COVID and have to provide, keep providing to our students. The Department of Education is providing available units. However, they're not iPads, and
have the option to choose what they're saying is from, I don't know if you're Chromebooks, but our superintendent is not.
It's not homework, it's basically basic model. I think the unit is now at $20 each.
It's access net basically is.
What is nice, it has provided some Wi-Fi hotspots. It's not in remote areas. We do have a that can have activity, or they could of some of these services that offer in March expire. We devices, devices for those provide internet.
So there's you not provider.
I have some carriers that are available in the district that we can, and we will at some point will identify priorities. And so funds are meant to cover any cost over and above what you would in your district, and it's specific to the COVID response. So if you have costs that were not planned in the budget specific to the 19, you can apply these funds and get. The Department of Education is strongly advanced that you have to be careful what kind of you put in to recover. So if you're taking, hey, I'm going to use transportation that we choose to transport meals and apply for that, the danger next year when the funding level, you're going to receive less funding for transportation because you've got these. So there's to really be careful about not taking expenses that you have full budget and put towards it because they will your funds for next year. Have, I think it's a year and a half, not 2 years, to recoup the funding. So we've got a list of things that we're identifying as we go along, so that we know what we're looking for and we're going to will not affect in the future.
So that instruction technology that is directly related, anticipate, COVID through the beginning of next year, that.
There's just that, but know that if you have something that we're invested anyway, you can. We'll get those. I'll answer that a little bit later. I can have on my screen. Student and staff support, the main increase is in technology. Next one is administration, increase in that section. We have several costs that are offset. AB 33 actually have our parents actually doing ed said once a week. So expenses are will recover AB 30. And then here the extra legal costs for both and the value their share of the costs are in here. School administration is an increase of 10,000, and that's critical that what until the budget last year, the difference is looking like a larger income person is actually going to receive as a rate. Student transition, the salaries and that reflect that, our buses and our custodians spending on doing than what they had. We had the time clock. Facilities maintenance is 36. Includes a 25 contingent. The main electricity, and also have a loan for we're going to be building at elementary school, a school renovation fund grant that has been This is just the first loan payment. And just-
This is, the revolving fund was on the Department of Education. It had not happened. Oh, it's been years since they lost. Applied for vestibular at elementary school. And if you know why that, for that particular reason, we thought that too, that Paul is safety and issues. We've had to hire, weeks at time, we knew that, custody issues for students. And the school has built 526 with central office of the building, and will come in a long way to go. So, needs to be fixed with every vestibule. So we, this department will pay a main portion of that. Cost for our up is 100 or something thousand. We will end in 49% based on our EDI levels. So we then go through the bond bank, borrow, get it free years. So the amount put into the budget is just a $10,000 first year's pay. Again, it's only through the main bank for 5 interest.
The cost center, your school lunch, includes the program in the 18 weeks. And the cost center is continuing ed program, a slight increase of 1,000. For a total budget, including cost centers of $1,109,727, which reflects a 63% increase in expenditures as compared to last year's amount. If we continue again in school, 5% increase of about $307,000. The next is your. Oh, I call it the programs within summary programs cost center.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
The transportation on page 3, yours.
Yep.
You mentioned because of the block.
It doesn't matter. See here my drivers.
I thought you had mentioned captured on C. And the-
Captured on sheet, captured on the third line. Top.
Right. Totals.
Yeah, it may not be the total increase. What I did is gave you the price increase in that one. So increase of 11,000. There's an increase of about 1,500 with the benefits. So when your salaries, your social security numbers, and then also an increase of about 1,500 utilities, either garage or bus garage or pertaining to that area. I've got small, I've got one on the gas and diesel, material 500, and equipment 100, and the in $1,000. So there's a small throughout line item. What I in that is your prime increase in that.
Okay.
If you go to sheet E, that's your fund. So I identify every area of revenue that's in offset that. Every last line I fill in additional local. And if you look at that, that's the, and it's highlighted in blue. So I fill in the other lines and first at straightforward. Well, when we typically do these budgets in April or May, you're guessing. And normally this time of year, I have a really good idea. But COVID-19, crystal ball, what we are to look at, we fewer teachers, we fewer substitute personnel in. We've tried downstate sports and staff professional development. So confident that we do have the 12,000 in this budget done. So that's the one I'm confident in. As a total, I really don't know yet. We'll, as soon as we wrap up, that's what I'm on in the next 2 weeks. But I'm confident that we have carried, because we've had expenses, particularly forward and use against next year's. School lunch itself is it needs to live well, so it has carried forward, and the 7,000 that those are some of the for the summer lunch that we're bringing forward. And then the continuation, we're anticipating a small carry forward of 10,000. So that's the cash, the cash balance between three expenses are just under 208,000. Local revenue, the funding comes from education, what we call the E79. E279 is a and got it on screen. It's a formula that the is to distribute the available at every school district in through this form to these funds. It takes into account your enrollment, it takes into account grades of your enrollment, your guidance area, your health, runs it through the takes into account average salary area in state that you're in. It's all kinds of criteria runs through. What it doesn't count is your cost of delivering and picking kids. It doesn't take account your building, where your building is located, what this is what we refer to as the minimum that it should to provide education. Not fund anywhere near it truly costs. You've got your specific for each day, but it guarantees that you receive some funding, and then once it determines it looks at state evaluation for if you're a town or towns, pick up your school district, and then what of the cost, the share be at the local before the state taking any funds. We refer to this 279 as a local share, a state share. So in this section, the EPL allocation required amount Madawaska to contribute to get the state this fund. So the amount here is 2,559.86. It's a so it is saying you spend a little less higher local here, and later that they've actually a little more. The local funds, this is the number I plugged in, identified all revenues. We're looking for $1,077,000 of local fund balance. The school nutrition program, this is a regular, so if we go into school, we provide the same program that we did last year. We'd need 60,000 local funds to run our program we were running. Last year, we were requiring 100,000. We were able to get down to 60,000. And education will require more, a little bit, I think $1,000 more. They're 19,000 for that. Tuition fees have valid tuition unorganized compared towards it to students. When I look at the students coming in, you have a few fewer students. So you'll get 29,000 tuition. They contribute 5 towards the superintendent knowledge Giselle. They contribute for the special ed and the clerical for the special ed. They contribute towards 2 salaries, and they can towards the speech, those kinds of things. They contributed towards education program. Unorganized towards you currently have 2 students there from unorganized tuition for those will be about 20,000. We anticipate registration through the continuing ed will slightly decrease here. So in 75, they anticipate about 4,000. That's primarily due to the ability to bring in until probably a little bit in the fall than normal. And clients reimbursements to get, and we anticipate a little bit better, 12,000. So those are the fees that anticipate collect. Food services, your program, the current summer program, the parents have to pay the reimburses meals, regardless of whether they're reduced or full pay. Everybody's getting for free. So in the event that we do the normal food service program, it would be, again, charging the parents should be paid, paid that to 70,000. Sales and general, that is of our buildings, and also 12,000 flex costs that we cover from the payroll we provide to 33. So the expense side and the system administration and against it. Time Warner Cable is actually another self-sustaining fund that we kept separate last year, 30,000 towards it. Really, it should be owned and carried forward only, and so there no revenue in that program that offset it because there's no money spent in the for Time Warner. Yeah. Oh, the 12.5 for general use, sorry, the 1,000 below, that's what we're going to do from SAD 30 payroll. E-rate,
I was gonna say the Time Warner, to explain is 0 last year.
just self-sustaining, so we shouldn't be using revenues towards it. E-rate, some of the technology costs that in the question earlier is is network services that are contract. We've applied E-rate. I don't know with it. It is a through USAC, the United Agriculture, has nothing to do with that, but it is. And it's a program that allows us to apply for certain programs that would provide technology, such as enabling network services support, and will, if you can, and if you're successful, they reimburse on your free and reduced populations. They free and reduced population Madawaska use to a 70 reimbursement rate. This 22,400 is 70% reimbursement of a contract service that we the budget for network service. So that's part of the piece that we earlier technology, instructional technology.
And the remaining balances.
I'll get you, yeah, and I can. My details is when I'm dealing. Then the last, the state revenue, the funding allocated $2,031,556. When it runs through formula, this is share. Local share was in 559. 2,031 is this year, 189,900 or higher than last year's amount. We're getting more funding. The regional efficient assistance recognizes that no part of the Unified Education Center, and by doing that Cal Unified, we are additional funding to the state for that. District not join or relate with neighbor with other districts getting zero on. So we extra 20,000 for Val Unified. The adult subsidy for this is 26,096. Subsidy, this we anticipate a normal year. This is what we provide this. Then the bottom one, the 9,060, the funds that I'm getting for the extra 14, these of 109,560 are expense side, the back is zero locals. And Medicaid reimbursement is special ed department is services that we provide to them, and we get to that 2,000. In total, we've applied. If we have a 7,109,027, this is where the revenues are coming from to offset all costs. Really, I cannot with a number for expenses. I have to show that we clearly support the budget that we ask for a public. Very last sheet, I refuse to put on this on the mill sheet that says a increase to the low, called it mill and staff sheet, and it translates to a increase in mill rate evaluation a little bit, a $0 increase to the local. Know that our local, it's a heads up. We knew that this COVID-19, there's no way that we ask for an extra dollar.
One question that still remains for me is the eating to last I saw which January, is that this number on January? That change on my so is this just a number? Can it the state can it go up and
Every year, the state should go down. It
okay.
typically,
So it gives me this this is proposed number to the COVID probably delayed you the correct number. What then happens if this is down $100,000?
Whenever they,
What do we do?
they put it out, get it in yellow, they call it preliminary.
Yeah, that's what I said.
In every year, it's not a different, preliminary. I don't know when they do that.
it's from year to year.
I have never find on there.
They stay.
They do. And
See them in
to answer, in 2008, there was curtailment, the last time there was curtailment. And I'm wrong, but I think they did it, is they took a monthly payment yet for education department. They paid and put it in July, they pushed it.
so that funds to offset.
Yeah.
Some of this.
So it
Similar
has
to the fact, we had some federal funds. To offset. Like I said, the ball is good as it ever was. When it comes to state getting by from the Department of that this failed amount. They don't. They will later in the summer.
Our monthly schedule, it shows, we'll get from this, and what they just, in 2000, that June never happened. It's always a, but the money for schools, new hero, that's, that's for the Senate, and offset some of the calls for, this, we have budget as it, is going to be.
And what we don't spend July 1. You conservatively until you're as much as a shortage that you're gonna get that you're anticipating from the state. We do summer projects, building projects in June, towards the end of the school. So in the, you have a chance through the year that those may be delayed and just not, that's what, for those projects in the year. Whatever we can, to fulfill what we need in the classroom, you get ready, you make, you can educate those. Anything weight and that is safety or related tends to wait May and June. And then we determine release these funds. And by then you know, is your city the cost of it? Your utilities, is it an 8 year where it's more today, 2010 when you significantly less coal. Most costs are known by March, and then you determine not you can perform it you had planned on, or if you need adjustments. And I'll do that technology.
Our round of the budget report that we sent to the board members here, I believe was 6% increase, 6% increase, maybe 9. So we've been chopping away at this every time, and we knew as 0 was our goal, that we could get 0. It's amazing, and we got to that early today. So it's,
I'd say, but COVID can actually help them. But allowed us to bring these, the carry forward from the city not traveling and not in the sports and the substitute.
While she's for that, I'd like to say a word on EPS. Lucy talked about the EPS being the minimum that the state has for funding, and I did bring what it does cover, just so I can share that with you. This does not actual cost of operating expenses, plus full cost of your expenses like teachers, advising equipment, professional development, athletics, co-curricular expenses, administration, plant and transportation. Your estimated inflationary costs, it underestimates salary ranges and additional local don't cover if you have your loans, if we're doing the eligible those things we have on here with the Lucy with the biomass. I just looked, the last page is in November 2020. We still have 8 to pay on this biomass. So things are not covered in EPS. Is there any other from the finance committee? You have what you want to tell us, Lucy? I think I've probably given what I wanted to see. I don't think we really did. I think it's zero.
It's not gonna matter what review, right? It's extremely different, everything, or then you have that out there. And so it's like through here, it's like that, or even at homes. It makes it hard, make the best decision you can, and then if it happens in 3 months down the road, how do you respond? How do you fix that side? I don't know if that's happening in a year and what look like and how resolve. I know you mentioned it. I guess that was in the back of my head. If something does, and it comes out $2,000 or $3,000, is it where we're confident absorb that, or without having to go back to taxpayer, you know what I mean?
One thing that I try to press boards that we, that every school district, town, state is in the, right? Planning for, and do that when it's so, more than, the same group, all in the same, and I think we do it better by setting up with a plan. If we have a plan for finding, there's
It was there, you got
there's money to, we can budget in a month, have, some curtailment going to come to do that. It's full and hard, but hope that there's a state response will not make that happen, a response. It's
I think it goes beyond all of that. I think even our personal budgets at home, I mean, well, so we, but even our jobs are unknown, like, are they going there? So don't stop because of the fear of being home. You have to move forward. Our job here forward is to keep children. You can't just put pause for and, well, we're not coming, we can't move. That's our job to educate. So all, it's not just the school board, it's our first choice. You have to choose to have a move forward.
I don't think I've ever seen change in the E79 and 300.
I don't know what
I remember that, but I don't think, I agree with Henry that you have to have some place and we go to recreation, we have to have a place.
That's, don't get me wrong, I'm not obviously just do that, I'm more kind of speaking of, I appreciate effort to at least propose with knowing local tax, or at this point, given the unknown, how would you ever, so.
you take that PB, look at first line, which is your total values. First effort or main effort was with our people. Okay, be difficult. So we worked with our unit and agreed that we're going to give you a increase this year. We're going to move you on the steps because that's a contract. You're owed that. I'm going to increase that scale percentage. Administrators are going to get cost just because it's so we're really working people because the majority of it. So a lot of work that's done.
Yeah, that's not an easy subject. Also, the teachers, Michelle and I were sitting with them. And, that's a hard pull because they're sure that's on a step is getting. So, it was not a thing to happen. Except I don't think accepted it, but they wanted out, said, okay, we're along with it, because of all the unknowns.
We're negotiating with our contract, which is your supplies now, which include secretaries, your techs, your custodians, that's not finalized, but I propose this thing. So
It's good to have this conversation and that information out there because for you guys, Chris and I thought, and there's a lot of pressure on him and myself knowing we were on this to expect a decrease from you guys. So that came to when that you've had conversations about wages is kind of good. Jason's it's getting that accept that, I mean, that's just where education is,
I think what we want things to do is when we think of our relation, our local people, and we can come to this 0 million increase. I think that, that palette for them instead of we have a 3% because we have a lot of cutting corners and of course, like we said, with the it's a lot of places to carry some old. So it's allowed us to say to the town, well, you're not getting use of taxes here. I think that's something really important. For population.
It's good for them to, like, because
Well,
a lot of people are out.
exactly. Then
It's good.
when they negotiate, we going on with the staff. That
Sitting on the finance committee for a few years. This is the first year that is.
It's 5 years, I'll tell you that.
I've been for 8 now, and this is the first we've been able to. I don't know.
The cost of every year.
And
You
that's
have to
it.
get creative on how to make hold that.
But we also, no matter, we, a lot of it in our schools, that was put on the burner all the time. Stuff that wasn't even looked at in 5 years. We can't do personal health, so we have a lot of projects that try to bring our schools to where they need. Yeah, because
You can't Band-Aid forever.
exactly where we were at. We were ignoring all the things and now, I mean, leaky roof, I mean, all this stuff, we had to prepare our, and now we do a little every year, cost is fantastic. It took us 5 years to get our head above, because we were.
See, we're doing a with 4 or 5 immediate first year, so.
So we prepared motions on accepting. Oh, Chris.
Chris,
Working on. Oh,
Things in one place. Of course, you'd have to have one. Okay, we do have equipment, pads and technology for places. So we have new sets of iPads for place and then we have regular iPads. We have workstation units. There's significant software that goes with, even have software for textbook that replenishes books without us having a print copy. You come up and those library software that we actually, and didn't mention, we have the capability that can be by looking at here. The software connects our together so that you can share resources. That's primarily funded through FedEx grant and not part of our budget. It's accessible and kinds of upgrades. Camera, battery, I can keep going.
I just thought that was anticipation that it not means, and that we would not purchase it solely as of Apple. Or if it was upgrade or new, that we currently have, like.
This is
So
forcing our back.
Yeah, I mean,
We do, we're reinforcing, and it's really not in COVID. It's related to operating a school on all
Absolutely.
these. So it's something that we would, our budget, we.
one other thing you mentioned is it's good for you to get back to your, well, from our, of our buses, we had a disaster. We had bus state police were telling us they go back on. And we now have buses all in good. And just the plan, keep to the bus line and keep current.
We keep
going. When we purchase next year, this reimburse of it, and we have to purchase the other one. Guidance that was, when you saw pieces that were paid by the tuition, dial in agreement that the board agreed to last to 6 contract. In that contract, they do a bus for us. Our buses, value grants are all equipped with grant donations from the public, some generous are all equipped. Is it 4 cameras? 4 cameras. I think that's required law now. And sound system and radios, and we have, yes. So some of those were funded grants, Valley Unified. Our radio system for the schools, but all the other school unit is now all. We've done some grants, some with through tuition.
Experience the gas bus as with diesel, it's cost operated.
We purchased last year an engine, and we're purchasing today, we're having to order it tomorrow, or that one will also have an engine. The bus itself costs less, but it's less to repair, to maintain, and to run.
So I just, you guys are looking to give you a recommendation, not a recommendation.
Oh,
from the
you-
finance. So they're doing this lot, we need to vote to do that. How does that?
Yeah.
What I do would be to have a motion to set the 2020 school budget, the amount of $1,807,20, and continue in school life. And we would have to, and if you want, it would be approved by finance, so that when we referendum, we're seeing that the finance committee has a budget, and then it's applied.
I think first, the committee decides if they want for the budget. And as you said, the finance committee says, in the warrant, it's in as, recommended.
We are still bypass town meeting, going directly.
Well,
That's our next.
yeah, Ned has to the attorneys, things change daily. I think Gary came with the time, but
I had a good conversation, and we can during discussion.
Before we get to finance, we need this to vote on the board, the finance side. Without his vote, we don't have.
Yeah, but we're voting.
Well, and,
We are.
just tell us yes, and you confirm what they do, and yes, confident that they know what they're doing, we're fine.
But in the, we've all out from one to the next.
Yeah,
Like,
is it there?
and then to your side,
I think
a member of.
I remember, that's a good,
So
but
we
we've
just,
done.
so that we're gonna, we actually.
Yeah.
Can I have them first then from the school? I will in a motion to accept 2021 school committee, 7,000,009, 728, including continuing school funds. I'm going to can move, have a second. Second, is there any more discussion from the school? All in favor? It is what, Robert?
Robert,
Is he on?
he was.
Oh, he left?
Expressed his support, but he was having technology issues. He hit text, he expressed his support, said good for the finance, and he had,
So we can say that it's
you can't hear,
Yes.
so
four,
yeah.
four and one out.
It's not really saying.
And then there would be a link from the finance. You can relay most of us.
So I would need, make the motion, I suggest what the motion is, but if you're saying that you like the budget set, $800,000, seven recommend, any other? In favor?
Regarding,
Thank
thank you. Regarding the next, so there was executive order without government, I believe, Friday, that will allow us to bypass the public meeting, the 50 less meeting. We could bypass, have what's called a remote hearing, which is basically a time where we could allow them to connect with us on Zoom or waiting digitally. Actions about the budget, they would not use it, would just be a answer period, and they could we allow the public to concern, ask questions, and we could move to referendum. If we were to choose that route, this is a sample of what it would look like just for this would be very different than what has gone before. The order would see all of the cost centers.
Would this be now on Zoom or?
This would be when you poll, this is what your ballot would look like.
Oh,
As you see, I don't know, for the voter who followed this process, the articles and centers and you're voting on full budget, but you see all this information to get to that, and you have to take an additional vote for the voter would vote for continuing education as a. They would have to vote for lunch, a separate vote, and then vote for bond loan as a separate vote in order to pay the entire budget. You list of the passing, but continuing ed, the budget pass, but not CD, it's very confusing.
Imagine citizen in the vote, reading 4 pages.
no, I can't imagine.
So I then asked, okay, so what other option? And bear with me here, better option is still confusing. So the guidance, you can hold your meeting for the budget, you normally would. You do remain that only people in that meeting here, or the patient here, you can't use a voter a right to vote. So once 50 people have arrived, you turn the rest of them and say, sorry, you can't vote, because you're infringing on their vote.
And you, 50 people doing,
Then additional people, not even be 50, it might be 40, 42. 50 people. So some school districts are doing is they're opening up a separate overflow. Sure, in the cafeteria, we count 50 people through. Once that first person comes to vote, we would send them to the library and then start to fill them with up to people. On the screen would be what's on in the area stream. And these people are part of that. And then you would have them for the voting. So there's counts there and ballot box in there. So everyone gets their chance. Some gray with the lawyer, whether or not it's constitutionally okay, but just as much gray is perfect fine. So they are advised, districts are doing that. Go ahead and do that if you're comfortable and that would be okay. Now in a point, we may not have 50 people up for a school. We may have 30. If we go through, we would have the meeting, would show the report or not. If it passes the meeting, we would go to the referendum as we normally would. The regular referendum question is this. It would be what you typically see go vote budget.
Do it at the same night.
That would be, you would have the meeting and then you would have the 7 or 10 afterwards.
What is between that, the amount of, at meeting will go up 50 to 100.
Have it, Gary?
The governor, the 30 days.
Oh, yeah, another 30 days, July 10th.
You have a rough.
More for the town than.
School, I'd say non-commercial year 30.
I would advise based on numbers that the town and the school don't have meetings on this, just for the fact that you're not gonna have 50 for that shot. So you have to decide, I go with the room thing and ballot, or I go for a meeting at 50 overflow and then have a referendum.
Question from the board. So, Del is obviously, there's an indication.
We won't even try and the post more on Friday.
In July 14th, had you on the referendum, would have been a concern in the sense that the crowd has limitation. The force, keeping people voting for local elections is, being a person in the wrong would be us have more time. It would be, everybody can vote,
Agreed.
So,
You mean, can't get a warrant by Friday?
This,
No, but this is not for,
we wouldn't have, I believe, the public
Yeah.
still.
This has to be approved 14 days in advance to the BR, so 14 days, July 14th. Only thing that would not be able to include the main ballot question have to come at a town.
Well, Mr. Snyder that I spoke to said, right now, at the day of this week, your chance to post one Friday, everything on slim.
And right, because when we create our laws and we have legal review, it takes a few days, and happen to know they're now they're overall, I think it's around right now. So you're right.
Something. The town meeting for the.
Like the election.
The primary.
The primary election, okay.
and the local elections.
That's the
Originally, we were thinking we could get on that election day.
But if we have the
we do it,
overall
yeah,
within the next week, would we still have time?
We have to post the,
Yeah.
what are we today?
Today's when,
let's see. Hey,
Today's
Under
30 days, February, 20 more days.
No, this is approval from the town. Typically, the next is a hearing. What we, and then that's the year. So it's 14 before our 7 for.
34 days now, 40.
So we have the town, the school town meeting for on, and the only question would be on July would be the B question.
can we do that? It can, it's gonna be,
But the attorney recommend,
Why do we pass on our warrant?
Normal years, we don't, this is not a normal, we get it.
you have a company that's making all of the best are red elected, and that company keep up for that July 14th date, because they just can't, we just run the risk of it becoming difficult based on that. Do we, would be advantage to have this July 14th, or do we be an advantage of a budget referendum on its own? I guess that's a good question.
well, the 14th is election day. They're gonna pass the full budget, 2 brand new members on it.
Question. Why can't school budget vote be counted last year's back? Huh? You can't. Then proceed.
so it comes to the question that's what advantageous for the school budget.
Don't want to feel so.
Can I just question what you said earlier? So if we would go 14, we would be voting budget only, have to go back for funding, is that,
We can work some real quick here.
well, that's not gonna happen. 90. So we would have to go second time.
You would, if the, gonna have their time later,
Oh, so
and you would one more,
Okay, yeah.
the town approve a $1 loan main loan. So,
So we had, then we'd have to be,
only to be,
only to be. And the R be done at the same time as the meeting.
there, I believe, the meeting will be for July 4th, the voting, not long.
So our town meeting will happen for July 4th. And so the R is a question. If you're able, they're going to do town meeting. At the time that done, satisfied that 14 days we are before July 14th. If it takes longer, if they fail to get it through, satisfy 14 days for the referendum, okay, we are, your PDR would have after the July elections. You have separate, just for the, they can have open floor. It's, yeah. So I just wanted to add that as far as we can, by hand. Of course, when we let you put accounts by hand, but there's a lot of places. I mean, we're gonna have to go over the count.
So I wouldn't use this. I find it complicated for the average voter and read.
But what happens?
I think that we should go with the initial meeting and the over.
In here.
Yes,
Have that.
yes. That would be this.
When do we, or do we want, on the, do we want it on 14 during other elections, or do we want it later when we have?
Because we put it on the, we don't, put it this come,
Not if we meeting.
not every meeting before. To me, that's what it says.
I think so as the citizens understand that 0% mill is.
Well, that, yeah,
0%.
when we have the information meeting, that's something that can be discussed, not all of them come to that meeting. Well, it'll be, people watch channel WW.
Can't we get the information into the local newspaper?
Should be a highlight. There's a real, it should be like a,
Well,
on the headline.
Valley Town. I don't know. I said, what I said, I would like to do racial things, people are gonna ask this. I think we can answer questions and try them. This year is going to confuse the heck of everybody. It confuses me, I want to look at this.
We're not, we're gonna have a good meeting.
There's 2 questions going
Yeah,
on
so we've agreed that we're not the.
I'll make a motion to the public hearing. Over here.
Everybody in favor?
Yeah.
Don't need a motion.
I don't want the record if you.
Can I have a motion? We will do what,
Need the motion.
oh, you may, oh,
And by Lou,
And by Lou.
I didn't even hear.
Turn it on.
All those, any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. There,
do you want referendum? Do you
I
want,
think if we could do 14,
and I get.
that's all I,
And then back to what those, I said, lawyers say that's very difficult. I can tomorrow and say, hey, make it happen.
why be difficult?
If we're gonna,
PBR is gonna have, it's already too late to have, put on a separate review. But the PBR, can have it.
All I'm saying is a message for today. Person
Keep going, the advice.
who will prepare for us.
We don't know what
Okay,
it is. Well, now, that's advice, turn against it or take it?
If you wanna, we'll push it.
It makes no difference.
We have that, you know, we make.
who prints our,
I don't on this board, right?
Go ahead, Laura.
Can you just say, if we try to put it all together, it's gonna be hard, or is it this big, like, we can't?
Right, this is.
We were gonna do, if I recommend. But that would be it. But in town meeting. In the refer, is budget documents that one article. that also- but-
Historically, have you had favorable school vote, and it was a general election or specific school budget?
School. I don't know. I think it's more.
Is that at a 0% increase, if the vote fails, that makes things.
Oh.
The past, when it has not been favorable, was because the school budget was asking increase. The difference is that this is a zero increase to the local payer, 0 from what? So that's the difference. So, we'll understand out there that the school budget keeps its mill rate. You get more on 14 than you would on your own revenue. So that's.
Right, I mean, I'll speak my mind, because I'm not a big speaker, so the advice from the came in that it's gonna be tight. What you want to happen, but it's up to you.
A lot of community helps are going July 4th. The school in Grand and the town and are after July. They're looking late July or August.
Does it really matter our budget? Whether it's a week or later?
It only matters if the question is where it passed. That's the only thing that's being passed. So,
But then have it after 14th, you have your information, but then you don't have to press it and have it out. You inform and you do your thing, whenever the law you can vote.
I think we don't appear that we're gonna try and pull some on anybody. I mean, let's put our cards on the table, if, like we're playing here, that's gonna go over long. If we're standing by budget, and the finance is standing by that. So it's not, your budgets are. Our budgets are, yeah. We've got to, and hey, they don't agree. That's all there is to it. You know, smoke here. 0%, but it is the 25th. That's your budget. If you're taking on the 14th, I will not. Wouldn't press is already up.
But if, rush to get it after warm the people, then we don't need 14. You have something?
So you got, are you talking about the town meeting, 14th,
We're just, that is one.
okay. And if that doesn't, the town doesn't happen, and what would happen? Somewhere.
the town meeting could happen still 14 because there's days or so, but not rush forward.
That's information we'll be taken care of and do the vote after that.
Okay, so time limits. If you want the information, call the school budget hearing, that time between that meeting and the BVR has to be according to law.
Okay.
So I think right now what you need to tell us is, do you want the BVR on the 14th or later? I think that's the question. And then we set town meeting accordingly.
Do it later.
It will give us more time to push out
Yeah.
more facts to the people. you know.
Yeah.
Were we talking during the BDR on the 14th? Or do we? Well, we have the vote on the budget and then we have the BDR.
Yes.
Right,
Well, you have the town meeting
Yeah,
and then the BDR,
so if we do the informational meeting,
which is in town.
which is the
which
town
is
meeting.
now, okay, then there's no rush on the BDR.
Well, depending on when we schedule it.
Yeah.
We'll look at some dates.
So the decision is not to rush to July 14th.
That's right.
Yeah,
Okay,
It has to be accepted at the town meeting before it goes to BDR.
right. But if we're aiming for the BDR for July 14th, we really have to
Oh,
rush and
that's
get going, so.
I didn't think it was any for the BDR. Not even for the BDR. I've been lost somewhere, I'm not aiming for BDR, that's too fast.
So what we can do is,
Have the,
we'll discuss a date for the school budget hearing, which is the informational meeting.
yes,
And we'll count our days, follow the law, and then schedule the BDR. Yeah, and we'll work with Gary on that.
Yeah, we'll need to get them signed by the board prior to posting.
Right. We typically, in the past couple of years, have called a 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. meeting to have you sign the warrants, and then we give it to the select. Soon to be.
okay, we're set with that,
That's it.
do I need a motion?
To adjourn.
To adjourn, okay, great, I have a motion to adjourn, Louis, you got to adjourn or not? Okay.
Tom, second.
Thank you.
Second, all in favor?
Thank you very much, you guys.
Thank you, thank you.